Hi everybody, Dana Litwin here again, and welcome back to Tuesday Tips for Leaders of Volunteers. Today, talking about if your organization's website is helping or hindering volunteer recruitment or community engagement in general. And you, as a leader of volunteers in your organization, may or may not, probably not, have the responsibility of the organization website, but you should absolutely be in touch with your IT department or the staff or volunteer or contractor who is doing that to make sure that your website is accessible, easy to find in search engines, and has accurate information and is an easy navigation, like a simple land on a page, one-click type of thing. There's been some research by Craig Young's team at Inspiring Service and volunteergeneration.org, not to be confused with the Volunteer Generation Fund, that's a different thing, on how community organization websites pass or fail a test of being having any kind of volunteer information on the website. There's too many organizations in this research study that Craig and his team, including a lot of volunteers, thousands of volunteers did, that an organization may not even have a dedicated or easy to find volunteering page with information about what are the basics to sign up. Is there an age limit? Do you need a driver's license? Is there a background check? So there should at least be a dedicated, easy to find page. If there should be a link, a really easy to see link on the home page or landing page of your website that says, volunteer, and a big easy button to click. Or some volunteering information, like at least a little blurb about recruitment and general opportunities on the front page itself. So if you want to work with your contractor, IT person, it's good for you to, if there isn't a good page, to come to them with solutions and suggestions instead of just complaints. Depending on your rapport with that person or that team, you may also say, hey, I have some suggestions from best practices to improve volunteer recruitment and traffic to our website. Can we have a meeting? Can we brainstorm? Can I bring some ideas and make sure that they can be open to that idea, and they may have some, they may just not have this on their radar of many projects to do in IT in any size nonprofit. So I'll link to volunteergeneration.org for you to see kind of the exact numbers and studies. And that also is a great resource for if you are a volunteer or you're looking for some kind of services or suggestions to improve your website's volunteer engagement, community engagement, traffic. That's a really great resource as well. So you want to think about how accessible, especially to sight impaired, but accessibility features built in to your organization website overall, but especially for volunteering. Does it have a language translation? Are you only doing recruitment material in one language? Doesn't have to be English, depending on the community that you're working with, but start to look at and talk to IT about accessibility functions, particularly for low vision folks, and how many clicks does it take to get to that destination, and more than a few clicks, and most people just give up, and it's hard to find. You might also talk to IT about your search engine optimization, or SEO. You might get a lot of spam or scam phishing emails and lots of SEO services that are kind of cold calling you. Don't go with any of those. Go directly to your IT department. And this also could morph into a volunteer special project. So there are a lot of qualified people with nonprofit Tech for Good. Again, great ideas from volunteergeneration.org and some other resources that I'll link in the video description, where you can get teams of volunteers to help with your website, or you could recruit specifically for that yourself at local universities with computer science majors, or clubs or areas of interest, and kind of do a targeted marketing for folks with that support. If your IT team doesn't think that they have the bandwidth to change that, you can suggest that they work with some qualified volunteers to get that work done, because it's really, really important. You also want to think about, and I've done other Tuesday tips about this, how the points of contact and points of engagement work at every step of a potential volunteer finding out about your organization. So are you on something like Volunteer Match, where that's where they find your listing? Is your volunteer page and maybe application form or contact form on your website? Is it hosted by your website? A third option that's quite common is very many volunteer management software systems, or VMSs. So often they create a page that's on their servers that's your volunteers, potential volunteers, and your own volunteers portal or one-stop shopping. So make sure that you know where all of these IT pieces fit together in recruitment, because what your website is doing or not doing, or how it looks, or how easy or difficult it is for user interface, UI, or to navigate, that can have a huge impact on people potentially volunteering with you, or not, depending on if they have a frustrating experience or they simply can't find any easy information on how to volunteer with your organization. And I've had a ton of anecdotal feedback exactly to that point from potential volunteers in social media threads, Reddit forums, things like that, where they're like, well, I tried to volunteer with this organization and I never heard back from anybody, or it took them weeks to get back to me and I didn't think it would take that long. So whatever volunteer application or first point of contact you have, whether that's you or some other person, paid staff or volunteer, answering those, or if it's automated, again, some volunteer management software kind of automate little blurbs of response, like please allow 24 hours for someone to get back to you, or 2 business days, or whatever. But you want to set and meet the expectations right from the get-go of when someone will hear back from you about volunteer opportunities if you have interviewing or personal phone calls or contacts as part of your onboarding. Again, a lot of this is automated in modern VMS systems, but you want to keep track of that and make sure no one's falling between the cracks, as it were, and getting frustrated. The other piece of this is if someone is answering the phone about volunteer opportunities, like a receptionist, a front desk administrative person with your organization, make sure that person who's answering the phones most often for general inquiries for the organization or the agency, make sure they know the 30-second elevator pitch about how to volunteer. Again, just the basics, age requirements, background check, basic schedules, types of shifts available, types of roles available, and that if someone has more questions, they know to direct that to you or volunteer services department or your staff, if not you personally. There's also a big push to have volunteer interactive portals so that they can enter their own hours and things. And again, check with your volunteer management software support techs, or if you're familiar with it, go through the manual or instruction videos from the company that you work with on your VMS, just to see maybe you can use more of their features and functions to automate some of this communication. I strongly recommend against using AI for anything that should be a human interaction. AI is great, and I'll have more webinars and videos and a live academy coming up April 8th about this. AI is great for speeding up tasks that's hard for humans to do or impossible for humans to do. AI is very bad at doing anything creative or with emotion or judgment that is best left to humans, like actual engagement and communication. So I hope you've enjoyed these Tuesday tips. Check out the resources below from volunteergeneration.org and more. I also have a link from Katie Padmore with Inspiring Service, who's doing a survey on recruitment efforts. So please fill out that survey so we can get even more great data and information on how volunteer recruitment is doing in the sector as a snapshot right now. Please like this video if you got any value or enjoyed any of the tips this week. Check out the hundreds of other videos on this channel. Become a subscriber if you're not yet part of that Cool Kids Club, and we'll see you next week with more Tuesday tips. Take care.